Do you feel like your paycheck's not going as far as it used to? You're not alone, and you're not wrong. Here in Alberta, we find ourselves in the midst of an affordability crisis, with the cost of groceries and housing reaching unprecedented levels. Now, at the same time, employers are doing everything they can to keep the wages of CUPE workers stagnant by tabling zeros during bargaining. When you hear zero at the bargaining table, that's them saying, sorry, nothing extra for you. And that has some serious consequences. It's like this. If your income doesn't go up, but everything else does, like groceries and rent, that's money disappearing from your wallet. It's not fair, and it's not right. It's a sneaky thing called inflation that makes everything cost more over time. So if your paycheck stays the same, you are falling behind. And let's not forget the bigger picture. Workers are facing some tough challenges right now. It's not just about wages. It's about making ends meet in a world where everything seems to cost more. It's called the cost of living. The cost of living is like a big basket of things you need to pay for to live your day-to-day life. It includes things like groceries, rent or mortgage, utilities, transportation, and even the fun stuff like going out with your friends or enjoying a meal at a restaurant. The cost of living considers how much money you need to cover all these things. It's like figuring out your budget for the month. So when we talk about the cost of living going up, it means these everyday expenses are getting a bit more expensive. And here's the thing. Your wages and income need to keep up with the rising cost of living. If not, it can be just about impossible to make ends meet. In 2023, the cost of living in Canada went up 3.3%. The year before, in 2022, it was 7%, the highest it's been in years. Now, this is being driven by things like housing. Mortgage interest costs have gone up by 29%. Rental housing increased by 7%. Grocery costs are up 4.7%. Basically, $1 earned a day is worth 66 cents of what it was 10 years ago. All of us are working really hard. Some are working more than one job, but we're still struggling, and it's not fair. This government's stance at the bargaining table seems to be aimed at undermining public sector unions, making it imperative for us not only to fight back, but to win this crucial and important battle. A zero at the bargaining table is not just a concession. It directly takes money out of your wallet. As the cost of living rises, a zero increase means you're falling behind, struggling to keep up with growing expenses. A 4% raise would just cover inflation and not mean a real meaningful wage increase or noticeable change to your family's budget. We need actual and significant raises in wages that can keep up with the increasing cost of living and address the years of stagnant wages. Inflation is a tough adversary, silently reducing the purchasing power of our income. Now, this is particularly evident when we consider that people typically budget 10 to 20% of their gross income for groceries. The average annual income for a CUPE member in Alberta stands at $44,500 a year. These workers are grappling with the challenge of budgeting $370 to $740 per month for groceries. Now consider a 3% wage boost for these members. That would translate into a mere $1,335 extra annually, barely making a dent in their grocery budget. It amounts to an increase of approximately $11 a month for groceries, which falls short of covering even additional basic expenses like eggs or milk. Compare what a CUPE member makes to an MLA in Alberta who is earning nearly $121,000 and who can budget between $1,000 and $2,000 a month for groceries. And if our average member's struggles didn't convince you we need a raise, think about those members making less than $28,000 a year who have a yearly food budget that's less than what an MLA spends in a couple of months. The harsh reality is that many of these workers, despite working full-time or holding multiple jobs, find themselves relying on food banks to make ends meet. A 4% wage increase would not even begin to touch the amount needed to allow these workers to make a true living wage. That's why our union, CUPE, has a detailed action plan to tackle basic affordability issue for everybody. We can no longer accept zeros. Workers deserve much, much more. The time to win is now. Let's wage ahead, unite, advocate for fair wages, and ensure a brighter future for all.